Hey guys, just wanted to make this quick video going over the tier list of weapon combinations that are meta and off meta. The meta combinations are the ones that have synergy based on the martial art path, while the off meta weapon combos are combinations that are crossed over to different martial art paths. There's a total of 66 different weapon combinations, 6 of them are the meta weapon combos, and the other 60 are off meta. I have broken the tier list into categories for single player, PvE, PvP, raids, and finally an overall ranking based on the average of the 4 different game mode categories. For the off-meta weapon combos, I'm only doing single player and PvE categories, as the PvP and raids are very experimental and require more data and testing to be able to give an honest tier list rating for them. At the end of the video, I'll show you an overall view of all the rankings to make it easier to view, and also a link to my spreadsheet in the description of the video and in my pinned comment, which I will keep updated, so you have it as a cheat sheet at any time. Now with that, let's just get started. First, starting with our meta weapon combos. First up, we have the Infernal Twinblades and Mortal Rope Dart. This is a great combo for dishing out a lot of damage very quickly. In single player, it does a lot of damage and performs really well. You'll feel a lot squishier when you're fighting bosses, but if you kill them quick enough, it's not a big problem. In PvE, again, it dishes a lot of damage, and if you're getting heals from your teammates to keep you alive, you should feel very safe. In PvP, it's such a quick gap closer, and if your opponents aren't quick enough to react, they'll be dead before they even know it. In raids, I highly recommend not going in with this combo, guys, otherwise you're going to have a very hard time as you need to be in the face of your enemies all the time to dish damage, which means dying a lot. The toolkit for this combo isn't made for raids, and you're going to have some very upset raid members if you come in with this combo. Next up, we have the Nameless Sword and Nameless Spear. This is an awesome combination with high single target damage and mobility. In single player, it's especially strong when fighting single target enemies such as bosses, and having that mobility gives you some room to breathe. In PvE, this combo complements your team quite well as you can dish a lot of burst damage whilst your team supports you or dishes damage with you. In PvP, this is where this combo really stands out. That single target damage is going to hurt your opponent. Now, having that ability to kite them and be flexible is going to be problematic for them to deal with you. In raids, the damage is great as long as you have a full team of people supporting you and ensuring you use your mobility to get out of trouble. Then this is a pretty safe pick. Now moving on to the Heavenquaker Spear and Strategic Sword. This is a bit of a powerhouse with some great dot damage that multiplies in damage, and paired that with some great mobility, it is a great choice across the board. In single player, you can feel comfortable melting mobs of enemies or single targets. It's a bit of a powerhouse DPS machine, so going through this mode will be smooth as butter. In PvE, it just complements your team quite well, and honestly, it's enough damage to dish out and run any PvE content with your mates. In PvP, it is awesome. Applying that dot damage and moving around quickly just puts your opponent under pressure, and you just have so much coverage with your attacks with this combo to give them a hard time in the arena. In raids, this is the only place where it doesn't stand out as much as the other combos. Now, it doesn't mean it's terrible, it just means that there is better options. Doing high burst damage in these scenarios is more important than the dot damage, as there'll be some moments where you won't be on your enemies to deal that multiplier damage. Next up is the Panacea Fan and Soulshade Umbrella. This is the only weapon combo in the meta section that is classed as the healer, so naturally this weapon combo is super important. In single player, it doesn't shine as much as the other modes. You can keep yourself alive to kill whatever you want for a long time, but the damage output when you fight bosses is where you'll struggle the most. In PvE, it's an absolute powerhouse in this mode. You can literally keep all your mates alive with heals, and if they die, you can just resurrect them too. You can blitz through all content with this in PvE. In PvP, this one is quite simple. When you're in PvP, the heals and resurrecting don't come in handy much when DPS and control are just so much more better. I wouldn't recommend running PvP with this combo. It does have its moments sometimes when you're versing someone who isn't that experienced. You can really frustrate them into making mistakes, but otherwise, especially in 2v2 and 3v3 battles, they'll just rush to kill you. In raids, I literally don't have anything to say here. You need this in raids. It is the bread and butter for keeping your team alive. That's it. Now moving on to the Vernal Umbrella and Inkwell Fan. This is the only ranged DPS martial art path in the game, which makes it a great pick depending on what modes you play. In single player, look guys, it's good, but it just doesn't have the same oomph as the other DPS weapons when you're playing solo. There's just better options. In PvE though, this is where it actually shines because it complements you and your team, and the damage you do from range while kiting enemies makes it powerful to give a bit more control on the battlefield. In PvP, this is where you can be really annoying for some people who are rocking melee weapons. You do your best to fight from range and pick your attacks with the right timing. In raids, it is super strong, you dish out a lot of damage while your tanks, healers, and melee DPS do their thing. The amount of damage you can pull off from the distance while staying alive makes it one of those most comfortable raid weapons in the game. And finally, we have the Thundercry Blade and Stormbreaker Spear. This is the only tank style weapons in the game. Now, I know a lot of people will see this tier list and be a bit worried that the only tank class is sitting at B, but honestly, it's not too bad. It's just because a lot of the content in the game can be done without a tank. In single player, there's not much to really say here because being a tank in single player versus you choosing a combo that dishes out more damage and still has great survivability just makes more sense. In PvE, it's just the same deal. The content in the game isn't too overly difficult in PvE to justify running a tank when you can have a few more DPS and a healer that can just keep everyone alive. However, it can stand out in certain teams depending on what everyone is using. In PvP, the toolkit on you won't give you enough damage to take out someone who can kill you faster. If you play it right though, you can actually be a problem to some people, but others who are quite experts in PvP will not have a hard time fighting you. In raids, this is where this combo stands out. Now, depending on who is wielding this combo, you can either have good tanks who just take a lot of pressure off the team, or tanks who are always dead. So make sure if you choose this combo, you get comfortable with your kit, as you will have a lot of aggro on you at all times, which can work out in your team's favour as they'll be able to dish out damage and keep you alive while in the raid. And that's all the meta weapon combos tier list. Here is the final overview of how they compare with each other. As you can see with the meta weapon combos, regardless of what you choose, you really won't have a hard time doing most of the content in the game. I highly recommend you choose whatever combo you enjoy the most to play with. Now, last but not least, I wanted to show you guys the off-meta weapon combos. Now, there are a total of 60 here, and I'm not going to go through them one at a time, but I'll briefly go over it. Again, as just a reminder, I'm not including PvP and raids, as there's just not enough data to support this. And the last thing I want to do is create unrealistic expectations. However, for the single player and PvE, I've filled out all the ratings and the overall ranking for them. Surprisingly, what I've found here is that some off-meta weapon combos are actually super fun and really strong. For single player and PvE, you can comfortably pick some of these off-meta weapons and still have an amazing time with them with no problems whatsoever. And also, just before I wrap up the video, I also have included a tier list of each weapon individually ranked in the tier list, just in case if you want to know how each weapon performs by itself. And that's pretty much it, guys. I've included a link to my spreadsheet in the description of my video and also in the pinned comment. The spreadsheet has multiple tabs depending on which category you want to look at, such as meta weapon combos, off meta weapon combos, or individual weapons. Hope this video helped you out, and please do subscribe and check out my channel for more Where Wins Meet content, and hope to catch you in my next video. Cheers, guys.